Welcome, friends. My name is Dr. Hazel Grace Yates, and I am so excited and delighted to be joining with you today with Kelly Larson. She is the founder and CEO of Center for Yoga Medicine, and she happens to also be a dear friend, and we've gone through some beautiful trainings and experiences together. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
And the reason why I'm in this moment bubbling and giddy and so excited is we went on a hike 2 years ago, and you told me about the success that you're having with clients, in particular some of the male clients. And we're going to get to that here in a minute, but I want to just put it off to you and say, who would benefit from listening to this conversation that we're having right now?
Well, any man that's interested in increasing his sexual performance, or any woman who knows a man who might be interested in increasing his sexual performance, could likely find this conversation interesting.
Okay, awesome. And let's just dive in. So you have something that helps men with their sexual performance, and I want to know what that is.
Yeah, so as you said, I founded the Center for Yoga Medicine, and one of the products years ago when I started looking at all these different evidence-based yoga sequences, and evidence-based, by the way, means that it's been shown in a good scientific study that it has impact. I came across a study for yoga for premature ejaculation. And I thought, okay, this is a good sequence. It's a non-sexual therapy.
Wait, when you say you came across it, like you developed it or you found it or you researched it?
I found it. I found it when I was looking up all these evidence-based yoga things. I was looking through academic research and thinking, like, there's got to be, like, what is there out there that there's been research on that shows that these postures are good for this medical condition? I was really looking at arthritis at the time, but I was like, oh, what else is out there? And I found this PE sequence.
Okay.
Like, really? Yoga is going to help premature ejaculation? And it's not like tantric yoga or sex yoga. It's like just like yoga that I could teach at my yoga class and no one would know that it was that. I was like, oh, well, that's interesting that this study is so good. Like, it's a phenomenal study. So I was like, well, I better all right, I'm gonna check this out. So I created a platform to teach it and started teaching it to some of my private clients. And the response was amazing.
Like, how amazing?
Well, first of all, I could back up just a little bit and say that in the study, every man that did this yoga sequence had statistically significant improvements. So that means that it was a marked improvement, an improvement that's big enough for science to say, oh, that's legit. So every single man in the study that did the yoga had that benefit. Other men in the study did prescription medications. They did not have as good of results, and the side effects of the prescription medications are not so good. Yeah. The side effects of the yoga are amazing. Right. Like my clients would talk about, that was the thing they would get the most excited about. They're like, wow, well, this is really helping in the bedroom, but I'm amazed at how much it's impacting my days at work and my life in general and my sleep and my energy. And I'd be like kind of surprised at all these yoga benefits. But then every man that I've taught this to has reported back to me that has done the whole sequence regularly, which is at least once a week, has had significant improvements, has come back and said, oh my God, this is amazing, in the bedroom.
And is that fairly common for those sequences and the programs that you've created with people?
Yeah, I usually hear great things. So yeah, I basically dig and only find the studies that are good. And at least when I started this almost 10 years ago, most of the studies out there on yoga for different medical conditions were not that awesome. A lot of them didn't have a control group or didn't have statistically significant results, which matters because it's like, oh, they did better with yoga, but not better enough that it's significant. So I would dig through these studies and find the ones that were pretty good. I found the best I could find at the time. So then when I would teach them to my clients, I usually heard back great reports, but this one was just through the roof because it's amazing to think what, doing some yoga postures that have nothing to do with sex, have this impact in the bedroom and on confidence and relationships. And yeah.
And what I'm noticing right now is that in the years that we've known one another and in our personal and our professional life, that this is a new intersection that I'm relating to you. So how is this for you? I mean, like, I know you as a yoga teacher and an empowerment coach and an intuitive and all these things. It's like, how is this that you're stepping into this realm of sexuality and bringing in yoga to this?
I love it. It's interesting because when I started 8 years ago, I just worked with private clients.
Mm-hmm.
And in my private clients, I said, hey, you can do yoga with me one-on-one. And if you want, I've got these evidence-based yoga sequences, and included were yoga for arthritis, asthma, menopause, chronic back pain, premature ejaculation. There was this whole list. And this one was just really popular. So taking it out in another way, the way I am now, where I'm hitting a bigger audience, is it's kind of awesome, because I think that sex is such an important part of our lives. And when we feel confident and connected and healthy in our sexual lives, I think we get so much happier in our relationships and our lives in general. On top of that, helping people sexually and also getting them to do yoga, it's like a double win for me.
Right. Yeah.
So I love it. I do teach evidence-based yoga for other things like depression and anxiety and other stuff. And it's great. And I love all the products, but this one's got a sweet spot for me because I think a lot of people have shame about it, about their sexual like frustrations and things. And, God, if we can liberate this for some people, I feel happy about it.
Yeah. Well, and as you know, this is one of the areas that I specialize in, working with men. And more often than not, where it's coming from is just this anxiety that they've built up within themselves. And as I'm thinking about some of my audience and some of my clients, I can imagine some of them balking at the idea of yoga. So I'm wondering, like, what if someone's never done yoga, or they're not really into yoga and they're not really flexible? What would you say to them?
I would say, first of all, I give this sequence away. So there's a free guide that you can have. So you can just download this free PDF and try it, and it's free. There's zero investment. First of all. Second of all, and then I also send some free videos to help people like understand like some basic tips to get started. So it's no risk there except for a little bit of time with a whole lot of benefit. Yoga, I love yoga because I see how much it transforms the whole person. So we're talking about sexual performance here. I've worked with professional athletes. I've worked with extremely high level executives, and performance, whether it's in the boardroom or on the golf course or in the bedroom, largely roots in like the mind and the calming of the mind and the calming of the nervous system and being able to find that place. And yoga's an amazing place for that. So I'd say you can do this practice in your own home at your own pace and make it work for you. And taking the time to breathe and to try it out. Probably if you find yourself, trying it and doing it regularly, like once a week for a little while, or maybe a long while, you're probably going to notice benefits so far beyond the bedroom and so far beyond just sexual performance. And it's probably worth the try. And you don't have to be flexible to do yoga. You have to breathe to do yoga. It's good to have a good attitude and just be willing to, to try, on your own with your postures or wherever. So you don't have to be flexible. Like these postures worked. I worked with men that were really stiff. I've worked with men that could hardly cross their leg. Like, because they're so stiff, but I could give them modifications of these postures. They would do the postures and they would still get the benefits. So as long as you do all the postures at least once a week, every man that did that reported back amazing results. So you don't have to be flexible, and you don't have to be like a yogi as you think of yogis.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that you're giving them the whole program on a PDF.
Yes,
for free. For free.
Yeah.
And really the only requirement is that they're breathing.
Yeah.
really doesn't matter. They don't have to go to a yoga class. They don't have to know anything about yoga. And you're saying that if they're committed to doing this at least once a week, that they will see value. How long would you say the turnaround for someone is to start noticing a difference for themselves?
The more you practice, the faster you'll notice a difference, with obviously some limit on that, I would assume. Once a day would be plenty. But once a week, you should notice a difference, especially if you let yourself really hold the postures for a few breaths each time. If you do it once a week and you could get by with 30 minutes, but if you put in an hour once a week, then within 2 months, you should see a significant difference.
Wow.
In your life and in the bedroom. And if you do it 3 times a week, 30 minutes to an hour, you'll probably notice results sooner in your life in general and in the bedroom. You should notice results. My clients always reported results a lot faster than I expected. And the study was for 8 weeks.
Right. And, Kelly, as you know, that I do not partner with very many people. I'm very restrictive on who I share anything with, and I totally trust you. And the other thing that I really feel aligned with sharing this work with people is that the reason I'm interested in people experiencing sexual empowerment is it helps in the bedroom and beyond. And what I really love about what you're offering is you're like, and you're going to be able to last longer, have more choice. And you're also going to have all these other benefits like that yoga provide, right? Just overall calmer nervous system, overall more like peace and stillness and flexibility and breath and also just overall physical health. Yes.
Yeah, mood balancing. People usually have better mood. They often find that they sleep better. This particular sequence you wouldn't want to do right before bed. You'd want to do earlier in the day because it's a little bit energizing. But my clients that did this regularly, reported better sleep, better moods, better relationships with everybody. Stronger. I mean, you're going to get stronger. This is building muscles in the pelvic region, and it's also stretching and loosening the whole hips and pelvic region. So you're going to have more freedom in your body and more strength in your body. It's really core strengthening practice.
And that's when I'm working with my male clients who want to have more ejaculatory choice and control. This is where I start, is the strengthening of the pelvic floor. It's actually just even bringing awareness and attention and relationship to pelvic floor, right? So
exactly.
So on our way here towards the end of our conversation, I would just want to have you share, what is the Center for Yoga Medicine and how did you get into this?
Yeah, well, I said just a little bit earlier. So what really happened is I had this wonderful client 10 years ago who had this rare form of arthritis called ankylosing spondylitis. And he showed up with the most amazing attitude and said, I want to be able to do cartwheels with my 10-year-old daughter. Still he's a really good client. I still get tender just thinking about him. And his dedication and his love for his daughter. And so I thought, there has to be research out there on yoga for arthritis, because I was a doctoral student at the time. I thought that there must be something out there. I'm going to look and see what there is. So I started digging, and I started digging through all these different things. And I thought, oh my God, there is so much research out there on yoga helping different medical conditions, but I'm an academic and a yoga teacher, and I've never heard of any of this. So why isn't this out there? So then I created it. Initially, I called it the Center for the Study of Yoga and Health, which is a little bit more of a mouthful. And then I changed the name a few years ago. And I just started collecting research and then started training some yoga teachers on how to do these evidence-based sequences. I think if we can, as a yoga teacher, yes, I could go through yoga therapy training and I could learn everything about arthritis and asthma and all these different conditions, heart disease. I could learn a ton about the body and I could get like a medical training, and that's awesome. And not everybody has the bandwidth to do that much training. So instead, I'm like, oh, here are sequences that have been proven to help this or that or the other thing. So what if I just take a sequence and I teach yoga teachers those postures without them having to know the whole condition? And I teach people those postures. They can do them on their own. And so That's what I'm doing. And I've just recently started launching them as independent video courses and free sequences that people can get online. So, I've put this free guide out for people, and I'm doing that with several. And then some of them I'm creating video courses where I actually walk people through them as well.
Awesome. So and I'm so excited that you're bringing this to the world and to the people that I care about. And I'm just happy. Anything else that you want to say here at the end? How do people find out about you and or the program?
So I'm going to give you a link that you can send out, and they can go to the website at that link, and then they can just get this free PDF guide. It takes you through every posture, and not all postures are going to be exactly what someone can do if they're new to yoga. So then there'll be little videos that I'll send with like free tips to get started.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. I love you, and I
love you.
And I will see you soon.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much for taking time, and thank you to everybody who's watching this. It's so delightful to be here. Thank you, Hazel Grace.
You're welcome, love.